There.
See. All right. Hey there. Welcome to our second episode of the English Vlog. This is a weekly vlog series of the English Blog, which is a blog of English teachers by English teachers for English teachers. In addition to writing high quality blog content for English teachers around the world and creating customized lesson plans, we also provide expert life and career coaching services. You can find out more about this on our website at www.theenglishblog.com or our Facebook page, The English Blog. So, what exactly is life and career coaching? And what does it entail? That's why we have Adrian, our life and career coach, right here with us today to talk about some of his personal life experiences and how he decided to pursue a career in coaching. Um, you'll also get to hear some personal stories from Eric, who is also there, and myself. My name is Christine, by the way. But before we get into that, let's hear Adrian share some of his experiences that led him to become a life coach. Nice to have you here, by the way, Adrian.
Thank you.
Um, would you mind giving us a little background of yourself?
Sure. So, even before I got my certifications for emotional intelligence, NLP master practitioner, and even before I got my license as a professional teacher, I have been helping people in my community, particularly in the church that I attend. And maybe because that's coming from a place of being grateful for what I've been given and the help that I've received from other people. I'll be sharing my most recent encounter with sort of a life coach. When I hit 40 last year, um, they say that life begins at 40, and there's just so much pressure inside me about so many things. And I was clinically diagnosed with chronic depression. I sought the help of five professionals. The fifth one, which I finally believe is a neurologist slash psychiatrist from University of Santo Tomas Hospital. She did a root cause analysis with me throughout that, I think, 1 hour or so of consultation. And we found out that there were two root causes that started in childhood, and one resulted from what was happening during that time in my life. But even before this, because I was able to get some information and wisdom from people who have helped me, I was able to get through that depression even without going through the 6 psychotherapy sessions that she
Mm.
suggested, and without meeting the without taking the 2 months worth of antidepressants that she prescribed as well. I was able to go through this season of depression with flying colors because of the wisdom that I've received from the people who have helped me in the past. And out of this gratefulness in my heart, I would like to be of service to other people. And I think this is coming at a time, at such a in a season, in not only in the Philippines but globally, where people are really experiencing so many challenges emotionally, maybe even relationally as well, because of what's happening with the global pandemic. So we're opening our doors as a team at the English Blog to help out people who may be needing coaching in terms of their life decisions and also career decisions in general. How
Right.
about you guys? What's your experience in life or career coaching?
Well, like you said, Adrian, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, and probably more people than we'll ever know. And especially during this crisis, it's not just a COVID 19 crisis, it's also a mental health crisis. And
Mhm.
I've been reading up on that and seeing people share their experiences with mental health issues, especially during this crisis. And I think, um, yeah. especially now, we want to be there for each other. Um, and it's nice that you're able to share your own experiences with being diagnosed with clinical depression, and you were able to deal with that not just by seeing your therapists, but by meeting with people close to you. And those people have been able to provide you some guidance, support, and just be there for you. And I think that's a huge thing. And it's nice that you're able to give back as a life coach. And I think that's very inspiring. Um, Personally, I have not been diagnosed with clinical depression, although I have visited therapists when I've been emotionally down, and that's happened quite a bit. But yeah, I don't want to undermine the experiences of those who have been diagnosed. Um, but yeah, that's just my experience. Maybe Eric could share a little bit about his own
Okay.
experiences.
So during my quarter life, like 3 years ago, I was actually diagnosed also with clinical depression. I think mainly at that time it was because of my career. So that was the time where when I shifted my careers from being a chef to actually being, to trying to figure out what I wanted in my life. So during that time I was in Australia and everything. I had a lot of things going for me as a chef. It's just that I wasn't that happy. And that's why I don't know, maybe that's what caused my depression as well. Including other many other factors. So I've been living with depression for 3 years. I'm still under medication these days. I don't think I'll ever stop the medication because it's like my doctor would say, it's a very genetic. It's a genetic thing. So
Oh.
he wouldn't really encourage me to stop. So what I did was, it's not mostly about me approaching other people to talk to. It's more of like, right now I'm in the state where my life is somewhat figured out. Like I kind of know what I want to do already. So I'm in the education field. I want to get into education management and everything. So I think this time the way I do life coaching is very casual. It's more of like for those people who are looking for help, like especially in the hospitality industry, because they tend to be very confused, or like chefs tend to be very stressed to their environments. And I talk to them like, maybe you should take a break and that. So I give advice. I try to help out, try to help them figure things out for their lives. So I'm not certified or anything, but I'm sure like one way or another, I've helped other people. And I think it's my duty as someone who has gone through depression and knowing how tough it is also. So
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys for giving us a little background of yourselves. And as you continue watching the English vlog, you will learn more about us and what we do. We've actually collected some questions from some of you guys, and just some commonly asked questions about life and career coaching. It's not People in the Philippines are generally not very familiar with life and career coaching. It's a booming industry in other countries like the United States, but in the Philippines, it's a fairly new thing, and we're so excited to bring it here and yeah, help some people out by providing our expert life and career coaching services. And I think, yeah, these people, especially Adrian, they're here for you, and they're qualified to give you some really great advice. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, Adrian, so we know why you needed life coaching and how you benefited from it, but how about other people? Why would anyone else need a life coach?
So I see life in many aspects of life. It's like a game, and when you're in a game, like in sports, for example, you need a coach. You need a coach to guide you, someone who sees things objectively and can guide you with the training that he or she has been through. We need people like that in our lives, not just relatives or friends and family, because these people were trained with and exposed to many other situations in the past. And if you want to get ahead, or if you're in a crucial moment in your life in terms of decision making or how you're feeling about yourself and other people, then you definitely need a life coach.
Yeah, I think that's very good. And some people, they get a little bit prideful and they say, "Oh, I don't need a coach. I don't need a life coach or a career coach." But I think being open and vulnerable with somebody is a huge strength that more and more people need to develop. And I've learned that myself. I've learned how to open up and show a little bit of vulnerability on my side. And I think that's helped me grow and become a more confident person and be a little bit more sure about myself and what I want to do in my life. Um, and I think Eric has a question for you too.
Okay, like they always say, like everyone needs help sometimes. I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
one
true.
thing I believe in. Also, like no matter how strong you are, there would be a time that you would actually need help. So
Yeah.
this next question is actually from someone I know. Um, she's a very busy person, so she can't really find time or the schedule to actually fit in like um, a therapy session or something. Because I think she needs it also, but
Mm,
I'm
Mhm.
not professional enough to say that she needs it, of course. But I actually recommended her to seek some professional help. So one thing she asked me before was, how long are coaching sessions in general?
mhm,
So I think it would depend uh, based on at least three things. One is the person's availability. Number two is his or her preference in terms of how to go through the whole coaching session, and a matter of priorities as well. Like if it's really bothering him or her, and if it really fits in his or her priority. Because if all of us are busy, we're all given 24 hours a day, but it's just a matter of how you use your time wisely that will result to the goal that you have, that you want to achieve, right? So
mhm,
it depends, and it also depends on, I would say, I would add that it depends on the kind of the gravity of the issue that needs to be dealt with, whether that would also need other professional help like medical, for example.
mhm.
um, yeah, so those are just some factors that I can think of right
How long are the sessions usually? Like in terms of months, days,
now. Yeah,
years? How long does it take? Yeah.
that's a really good follow-up question. So I would say, like at the season, we have to do it online because of the ECQ. Then I would say a minimum of 1 hour, maximum of 2 hour tops. But if it's done in person after the ECQ has been lifted, I would say that the session per session could last a minimum of 1 hour up to perhaps 4 hours even tops. But because we will have to do some checking along the way if it's really helping and how he or she is doing his or her part in terms of applying the lessons, and if he or she is applying uh, or experiencing other stuff in relation to the issue that's been brought up, stuff like that. So I would say the shortest would be a month, and it could go as long as 3 to 6 months, depending on the gravity of the issue that's
Sure.
been shared.
Just like in teaching, we're all ESL teachers, and
Right.
some of you guys teach in other areas. There's no one size fits all.
That's right.
And the same goes with life coaching. Everyone's life is different. They all have different life circumstances, different goals. Um, and yeah, they're going to share their goals with you. And maybe by being with you, they'll discover some new ones along the way.
That's
And
right.
yeah, you're going to help them achieve those goals. So, very well said. Another question that I have for you, um, what exactly can people expect from the session? So, we know about how long they would take
Yeah.
per session and for the whole duration of their time with you, but
Yeah.
what exactly can they expect?
So definitely number one would be the commitment of the coach, myself or you guys, depending on who will be addressing the concern of the coachee. The commitment that is surely going to be there, not just like for relatives or friends who will just be there for you when it's convenient. Um, and some practical tips that we've learned along the way or gotten from the books or the resources that we're exposed to. And for sure, the assurance that there's going to be a positive difference that will result out of the sessions that we will do with them.
Very good.
Those three things.
So, how would you be able to measure their progress? Like in an English classroom, that's quite, there's a way to do that. You have a
Yeah.
rubric or you have tests. How do you
That's
measure
right.
someone's progress when they're meeting with you?
So we're going to agree, and we're going to discuss first and agree what are the, we can say, for example, in terms of the corporate industry,
Your
key
KPI.
productivity, yes, KPI, right? So we're
Yeah.
going to agree. We're going to agree the KPIs that we're going to measure the progress. And then we're going to track it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So that even though we cannot always numerically gauge the progress, at least we have that on the record.
Okay. Good.
It's very business oriented. Actually, I actually have the next question, and it's probably going to be a lot of people's question.
Mm.
How much does it cost to get a life coach?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Such a significant question, to be honest. Like especially with the pandemic right now, finance is a bit tight for a lot of
Right.
people. Yeah, so how much does it cost usually?
We cannot specifically give you an amount right now because it depends on the issue that you will bring to us. It will also depend on the amount of time that both of us will be committing to the sessions that we're going to be doing. And it also depends on the kind of result that you want to achieve from the life coaching and career coaching sessions that you're going to have with us. But definitely, we're here to help you. We're not here to profit from it because we really want to be holistic in our service to the ESL industry. And this is part of our advocacy to give back and to add value to the people that we're serving in the ESL industry.
Okay, very good. And my next question for you. What kinds of people seek life coaching?
That's another good question. I would say that, well, number one is if you don't have friends whom you could ask for quality time, and if you feel like you're alone, and you're clueless, and you're in the middle of like a life-changing decision, for example, um, those are examples. I won't say life and death situations. Uh, that we will have to analyze if we can still assist in relation to that. We might need to escalate it to another uh, professional, but we will do our best to address the kind of issues that are entrusted to us.
Yeah, and as you said, people who don't have a strong support system consisting
Right.
of friends and family, people who are generally alone, I think they would greatly benefit from life coaching. But I can also say that people who do have a support system, they have friends, they have family, they often feel lonely. And that's something that I like to talk about, the difference between being alone and being lonely. You don't necessarily have to be alone to feel lonely, and feel the need to have some support from a life coach. And I think that was well said, Adrian.
And I just want to add this. What's also strangely true is that sometimes, even if you're in the middle of a crowd, even if in your you are inside your house with your family or in a party with your friends, sometimes you still feel lonely, and you
Yeah,
definitely need to consult a professional to understand yourself why you're feeling that way.
right. Exactly.
Eric, would you like to add anything to that?
No, I'm trying to actually reflect my own experiences, like feeling lonely with the crowd.
That
Yeah,
happens to
actually,
us,
that's like
right?
yeah, that happens a lot. That used to happen to me a lot. I think these days not really. I was able to find my weapon of choice to combat that loneliness.
That's
I
good.
think that's how therapy helped me back then. So it helped me. It equipped me with the necessary skills, the mindset to actually approach things differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can relate to it. And I'm also thankful that I took the leap to actually talk to people and made the decision to seek help professionally.
That's a really good point that you brought up, Eric, because the solution that the professional or the coach is going to give you is supposed to be customized to you, to your preference, to your priorities, to your experiences. Because, as mentioned by Christine earlier, there's no one size fits all. No, uh, not one solution for all of the problems that we're
Right.
encountering.
People often equate being socially active with being happy.
Yeah.
Um, and me personally, I'm often alone. I'm an introvert, and I enjoy my alone time. I'm probably alone the majority of my free time outside of work. And I think I see people who are very socially active and they have people to talk to, but yeah, they are often down in the dumps and just not feeling very happy. And so it's nice that they can have somebody who can help them identify where exactly those problems are coming from.
And also, another thing that just popped up in my head is that some people are actually just pretending that they're happy.
Yeah.
You know, they would laugh really loudly, but deep inside them, they're actually going through something. They're just hiding.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
We all have a mask when we're out and about, and some people are very good at wearing that mask.
Mhm.
And so you never really know until you truly connect with that person what's going on in their life.
Yeah. So for the sake of time, maybe we can just allot 2 to 3 questions to answer.
Mm-hmm.
We'll finish in about 8 to 10 minutes. If that's okay with you
Right.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the next question is something I personally wrote down. Uh, this is something very timely, especially with the current pandemic the world's facing right now. So, actually, my question is, as we shift to a new norm post-pandemic, how could life and career coaching aid the people who would be struggling to land jobs? So, this is more of towards the career coaching side already.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure so many things will change in the workplace, right? Um, Part of being vulnerable is emotional exposure, risk, and uncertainty, being open to those 3 things. And if you're not vulnerable to also adapt to the new norm, it will be very hard for you to take on the challenges of the new norm. Because when you go out there, you will go out there with people in mass. Sometimes part of communication is hearing them loud and clear without their mask on their faces. But that's going to be a new style of communication. So, career coaching will help people to navigate that new norm pretty easily and to adapt well to that new norm. How about you, Christine? What do you say about this?
Yeah, I think that there are a plethora of new norms that are being developed as we speak due to this current situation. And we're learning to adapt, and it's happening. We never expected that anything like anything of this gravity would ever take place.
Yeah.
And so we're forced to adapt. And I think that's just part of it. People are going to be seeking new sources of help and support
Yeah.
due to this crisis, and I think one of them is going to be life and career coaching. I think it's going to grow like other industries are not going to see, and it's something that we're looking forward to seeing because we want to be there for those people and provide them that kind of help and support.
And I think life and career coaches have a very vital role to play post pandemic because, as you mentioned earlier, and as we all know, like this pandemic is very mentally, emotionally taxing. So a lot of people might start decide to go to seek professional help. So my psychiatrist, for example, he's expecting like a rise in number of patients. So I think being a life and career coach, it's one of your job to actually mitigate the number of patients by addressing those issues that could be addressed by talking to other people.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it's very important, especially post pandemic. Yeah,
that's true because I
yeah,
can only imagine with so many people being stuck at home
mhm.
and nothing much to do. I'm sure some of us are experiencing trauma.
Yep.
And
Definitely.
trauma actually gravely affects the way we think and feel and the way we relate with people. For
Sure.
example, I was watching this YouTube video um, yesterday, I think, and I was fascinated with videos and resources related to trauma. And it says there sometimes we overreact to certain situations because that particular situation at hand reminds us of something that happened in the past.
Mhm.
It just triggered an old feeling. It triggered uh, a really bad memory. That's why we're overreacting. And hopefully that won't happen in the workplace.
Mhm.
But for sure, there will be semblance of that is going to happen
Yeah.
as we start the new norm out
Feelings
there in
are
the world.
a very, very powerful thing. They say that oftentimes you don't even remember the situation or the occurrence that sparked that feeling of trauma, but the feeling stays nonetheless. And
That's right.
so we want to help people address those feelings.
Mhm.
All right, I think this is the last question on my end for
Yeah.
you,
Okay.
Adrian. But
Yeah.
my last one for you is, we work with the English blog and we write blog content for English teachers and we make customized lesson plans. Why life coaching? How exactly does life and career coaching relate to your work with the English blog?
Mhm. As teachers, we are second parents at school, and we are also role models at school. And that's such a heavy responsibility for us to take on. And if we're not aware of how we're feeling, if we're not understanding the things that's happening inside us and around us, we will not be able to be as effective teachers that we are really meant to be. And we may not be adding utmost value to our student and to the schools and to organizations that we're serving because we haven't yet started that journey of uh, being reflective and growing in ourselves and our potentials as well. That's why we want to be holistic in the way we serve our teachers, the ESL industry as a whole, because in this way, um, we'll be able to bring out the best in people as we also know ourselves better. And that's one thing I realized as well about myself. I thought that I already have it figured out. Who am I really as a person, my strengths and weaknesses. But the amazing thing is that as we grow older, we realize more new stuff about ourselves. Although we become more confident, that's for sure, as we age. But then there will still always be new things that we will learn along the way. And life is a process of growth. Life is a process of learning. And I believe that adding this in the English blog team, having this service will definitely um, help our teachers, especially in our nation, being looked at as a third world country, to deliver world class service to our students and to our organizations too.
Yeah. And
Very well
when you
said.
look at the internet and you see all these sources for teachers and other kinds of professionals, it's not very holistic. It only provides them a certain service or two.
Mhm.
But our goal as the English blog is, like Adrian said, to provide a holistic service that helps them in many different ways, not just in lesson plans or teaching in the classroom, but also in their personal lives. And that's what we strive to do.
It's very unorthodox, to be honest. Like usually, like when you're asking like how do you become a better teacher or something like that,
Mhm.
they won't tell you like, oh, you need to manage your emotions, you need to have that empathy. No, not really. They'll teach you, okay, you use this teaching style and stuff.
Right.
So like, I think teaching entails a lot of emotional aspect. It's that's why when you're teaching, right? Like at the end of the day, you feel like very not just mentally tired, but also emotionally stressed.
That's true.
I think that's
Right.
one thing also. Yeah, it takes a toll on you emotionally also. So yeah, I think it's a
Absolutely.
good. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a very emotionally taxing profession if you're especially if you're working in the field full time. And I've had
Yeah.
my fair share of times where I was burnt out and I needed some help. And thankfully, I've been able to find that help in people who are close to me. Um, and yeah, I think Adrian, being the life coach, he can also provide professional help to people who have similar experiences. All right. Well, I do we have any more questions that we want to ask Adrian?
Maybe in closing, let's just remind people to visit our website www.theenglishblog.com or visit our Facebook page. The URL address is English Blog for Teachers. Again, the URL address is English Blog for Teachers, but you can also type in the search bar the English blog and it should pop up.
That's
So
right.
if you have further questions, don't be afraid or don't hesitate to ask us. Drop us a message, leave a comment on this video when you see it out in our Facebook page. Or you can also send us a message there,
Yeah.
and we'll do our best to respond as soon as possible.
We personally respond to the messages, just saying we usually like fight over it, like, oh, what are you gonna say? Something like that. So yeah, if you want a personal touch on your responses, send us a message. We'll get back to you.
And you can also get in touch with us for customized lesson plans for your English classes. I know that's very time consuming and stressful at times, so you can get in touch with us for that. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being a part of this. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Eric. And
Well,
we look forward to seeing you all again.
stay safe and healthy, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.